Guys, we are here with my guest, DeOna Fuson. Did I get it right?
Yes. Hi.
Because you just told me a moment ago,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, I hope I get that right.
Yep. You did it.
And I have been looking forward to talking to you for about 2 weeks now. You gave me such an enthusiastic yes when I asked you if you wanted to come on, um, and you said that you were always open and ready to talk about recovery and the 12 steps and true forgiveness. Um, all
Absolutely.
the all of those things are my favorite things to talk about. Probably above all else, and it's the central focus of my channel. I've been talking about recovery, my own and others, Course Miracles, and the practice to forgiveness, as well as my yoga meditation practice. Um, and I've been expanding. I've had some great guests, and I'm very happy to have one more great guest with you.
Thank
Um, where would you like to start? Your own journey? Uh, how did you arrive to recovery,
you. Hmm.
the 12 steps, and then miracles, and then we'll hit the metaphysics of and the practicality of A Course in Miracles.
Okay. Yep. That sounds perfect, Eric. Well, my recovery journey started in 2016. I was introduced to, well, I'd been introduced to specifically AA, Anonymous, and I loved it. However, I wasn't ready to sit down and sit all the way in the chair until 2016. uh, Life, I believe will either bend what's coming toward us, or it will be, um, it'll be, I don't like the word forced, but it will make itself known, and you will be left with nothing else but to step into recovery. And that's pretty much what happened. The whole house of cards fell, and I took that leap of faith and, got right in working a program. And what I realized so beautiful about uh, AA specifically, the big book, I always believe.
Deanna, your sound keeps cutting out a little bit.
Shoot. I wonder if it's the fan. Should I turn the fan off?
We could try.
Hmm. Okay. Hopeless.
Let's see how that works.
How
So,
does it sound better?
there's like a little cutoff every couple of words. It'll cut off for just a second.
I notice when I say something, there's kind of a background noise a little bit.
Let me try something from my end and see if that works a little better for you.
Okay.
Um, so, how many years have you been sober total?
I just celebrated 1 year. I relapsed at 8 years.
Um, how did moving on to true forgiveness? How did true forgiveness? And I want to talk about what true forgiveness actually is. How did that focus in your relapse, your recovery from relapse? Because I know people who have relapsed and it was actually harder than the initial getting sober because there's so much guilt and there's so much this sense of I let everyone down.
Exactly, exactly. And that was something that presented itself right away. And I said, now wait a minute. Truth is here, truth is present, truth is never not present. And the truth is, there was just events that happened. A character, after 8 years of not drinking, picked up a drink. So what? So what? There's nothing to feel guilty about, because the true self my true self did nothing. I'm just watching DeOna recover, and it looked like she picked up a drink. Okay, this is the events that transpired, and there was an initial guilt that came up, right? But I looked at it through the eyes of truth. I looked at the projection and I said, wait a minute, I'm not this character. I'm not a mind body in time and space who did something wrong by picking up a drink and drinking alcohol again. It's
What a
a Yeah,
what a change of perspective. Um,
absolutely. Know the truth and the truth shall set you free. And that is the truth.
and how did you arrive to that truth?
I have been practicing A Course in Miracles for, well, I've studied metaphysics since I was 19. A Course in Miracles had briefly come into awareness a couple of times, but I really started. I went to a Unity church and joined with a group and really began practicing it at the same time I stepped into the 12-step program in 2016. So I lived in spiritual community also, so there was a lot of mind training in place already, where I was able to look at that guilt that was coming up. I'm bad. I did something wrong. I let myself down. I let everyone else down. What are they going to think? And really look at that projection and be willing to see it in the illusion that it is.
Right.
And
Um,
yeah,
you know, whatever else we cover for the rest of the hour, a little over the hour, if that's the only thing that comes up and that you offer, what a huge, because I do know so many people. My own uh, close family member lives in fear of a relapse, where it's almost as awful as the addiction itself, because she's on that razor's edge.
right.
And I just urge this great relax. It's going to be okay. Um, there's no. It's always only day one. I find it not helpful to you know count the day each and every day, because now you got a lot of pressure on yourself.
Yeah, that was something that also came up for me. While it's okay for me, there was an identification with time prior to the relapse, looking, when there was a real looking at the 8 years in its entirety after the relapse, there was a real recognition that there was a strong identification and tie to time, the idea of time in terms of my recovery. The more time you have, the more others look at you like you're a master, got it, all those beliefs that are intertwined with time and recovery. And it's the bottom line is the real addiction is believing that you are a body and an ego, a mind, an ego mind in time and space. It's not true. It's not A wave is a wave, but it is still the ocean. DeOna is this character doing these things, right? But I'm spirit, I'm consciousness, awareness. That's my true identity. The wave's identity is the ocean, is the water. It's not a wave. It starts as a wave, it starts as the ocean and returns to the ocean, never not being the ocean.
So it really doesn't matter if you've been sober for a year or 8 years or 20
8 minutes.
years if you're sober.
Exactly. And it's a state of mind.
Do you mind if I ask what led to the relapse?
Well, first of all, there was an intense resentment toward someone else. So there was a whole lot of projection happening. There was a whole lot of projection and anger that was happening, and a strong resentment towards someone. And in the light of that, I was aware that I could see this happening, but I was unwilling to bring it back and rest in true identity. I was allowing myself to identify, and I don't even know if it's allowing myself. There was a decision that was made. No, I'm this person that's being wronged. I'm right, and I'm unwilling to budge on it. So it was a resentment, which is a grievance against
Right.
my brother. in this case, my sister. There was a grievance there, and there was an unwillingness, which is key. That's absolutely key with anything, is willingness to see different. And there was also a chronic pain that was happening in the body, but of course there was, it was this resentment, this strong grievance that was happening in the mind. And um and it just looked like the body was suffering as a result of being unwilling to change the mind about what it thought it was seeing.
Is there a way that you could view the relapse as a spiritual blessing that
Oh, absolutely.
you want to go into detail?
Yes. Because of the relapse, I have deepened in my practice with A Course in Miracles, because I came to a point after the relapse. It was like a do or die situation. I knew that if I could not get past, oh my God, I had 8 years, 8 years, and now I have nothing. I knew if I couldn't get past those thoughts, I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. I knew if couldn't get past those thoughts, that I was in trouble. I was not going to make it. And on a very practical level, putting alcohol into this body is not advisable, strongly not advisable.
Do you mind answering a question from a viewer?
Absolutely, I would love to.
Our friend Squirrel Sniper says, "Is the is it the ego that is the controller of the addiction?"
The ego is the addiction. The ego is the addiction. The ego.
Huge, huge answer, by the way. You summed it all up in like one sentence perfectly.
Absolutely.
If we were to solve our addiction to the ego, our addiction to the belief that we are an ego, uh, if we address the cause and don't worry about all the effects, because there's thousands upon thousands of effects, but only one cause.
Right.
And every addiction stems from our addiction to ego rather than our belief or our knowingness that we are spirit, that we are God, that we are love.
Right. Right.
Lee wants to know, normally we save a lot of questions for the end, but people are ready to dive in with you.
Oh, awesome.
DeOna.
Yay.
Lee says, how does the ego play the part in chronic alcohol? Who drinks to forget? So how does the ego play the part in a chronic alcoholic who drinks to forget?
Who drinks to forget?
Right.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. In fact, I was talking to someone this morning. I went to a meeting this morning, and I was thinking about just what it looked like, what it seemed to look like for myself, and this chatter mind that I believed was me. I believed I was these thoughts. I believed life was treating me unfairly. I believed that I was DeOna and I had 2 master's degrees, and everything should be going good for me. I've worked hard. Why is this not working out? Why is that not? So I was believing all of these delusions about the character on the screen. I was identifying with it, and it's illusory. It's thick. It's separation. It's not true. But if you believe it, if you believe the thoughts, at some point we're going to want to get relief from what is believed to be the human condition:
Um,
restlessness, irritable, discontent.
you don't know this, but you just offered me a huge deal of relief with your answer on some own stuff that is going on in my personal life. Almost as if you had climbed in my head and said, "Hey, let me make things a little easier for you."
Wow.
Uh, Thank you. Um,
Thank you, Spirit.
we often talk about the ego, and had some great guests up where we've offered perspective. The description's always different, but the perspective is the same. That we're not at battle with the ego. We're not at war with the ego. We're not trying to subdue it because we're not Don Quixote. We're not tilting at imaginary windmills.
Do not fight.
Um, so, your relationship with the ego during addiction, where you said you heard that chattering mind, believing it was you, and now at this point in your sobriety,
I know it's
difference.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I know it's not me. So I don't get caught up in what, what's floating by, thoughts that are floating by. I don't have to attach to them like Velcro. Oh my God, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh God. Living in this constant state of perpetual anxiety because I'm believing the thoughts. The thoughts aren't me. Capital me. They're not me. They're not spirit. They're not true. They're not me.
So that's important to realize that you still have the thoughts, you still have the ego, um, but your relationship with it has shifted. You've had that holy instant where you see, I am not the ego, I am not the body, I am free. Um,
The dial
and
down almost, you could say.
right. Do you have besides the course? Do you have a meditation practice or
This is what my meditation practice looks like. I will sit and just in complete silence and just watch, be what I am, consciousness awareness, and sense into that because it's just a subtle shift from being identified and believing the thought, the mind, to awareness. Just a slight shift. And it's a sensation. And so I just be in that, be that, and allow whatever is passing through to pass through. And I practice that throughout the day. That is my function in the world. That is my practice.
nice? Our friend Long John says congratulations on your sobriety.
Thank you
And
much. Thank
Lee,
you.
Lee, who asked about the um, alcoholic, the last question, said, "Well, excellent answer. Never thought of it like that. Thank you. Very
Thank
grateful for that answer." I know that you are very big on the 12 steps. Um, could you talk about your relationship and practice of the 12 steps, and has it changed with your renewed commitment to Course in Miracles? How do they coincide together?
Well, I think it's interesting. The first thing that comes to mind is the course was written to get you in touch with the internal teacher. There's even one lesson 189, forget this course, forget this world, and come to God with holy empty hands, or come with holy empty hands to your God.
Right.
The AA Big Book says this book was written to get you in touch with a power, capital P, power greater than yourself that can solve your problem. Because I had the spiritual experience of being relieved of the mental obsession, that position of neutrality. So I can see where both practices are geared toward getting you in touch with the internal teacher which is really you, the Holy Spirit, that is the guide, the still small voice, consciousness awareness, not the incessant, not the bedevilments.
Right.
The big book talks about the bedevilments, thoughts, 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 thinking I'm a prey to misery and depression. I can't be around people. I can't be of use to others. I can't make a living. That is all just illusory thoughts, and we're not the thoughts.
Coming back to what you had said earlier, we only have one problem,
Right. That's
and
it.
everything else is an effect. We only have one problem. I wonder if, and you had mentioned it. I wonder if people in the chat could pinpoint, because we talk about it all the time. Every day we talk about that one problem. The
Mm,
one problem is belief that we are an ego that is small, that is separate from each other, that is separate from the source, separate from God. If we correct that problem, we don't need to fix it because it's not real. We don't need to fix what isn't
right.
real. We
Right.
just need to correct it with a miracle.
Which is just that slight shift. It's just a slight tweak in you know, just be still and know that I'm God. And both books were written to get you in touch with that power that will solve. It just guides you through life. And whatever comes up, it's for, if you knew who walked beside you on the road that you have traveled, fear would be impossible. And all events, past, present, and to come, were designed for your good. The course says something like that, yeah. So there's nothing to worry about because it's all designed to bring you home. It's perfectly geared toward the forgiveness for your
Right?
particular seeming mind to let go.
How do you relate to the concept of the script is written? Does that bring a sense of relief where you can say, "Oh, this, okay, so this, I just have to forgive. It was, I can't escape it. It's here. The script is written."
That's right. It's a done deal. The relapse. I'm so grateful you brought that up. That I
I could
can
tell.
kind of.
I could tell by your reaction.
Yep, yep. The movie has been shot. It's done. It's over. The only thing I can do as the witness, the I am, is watch the ego script Forgiven. And I don't do it. It can be so trickery because I don't do it to seemingly try to affect change out here. I do it to as a song of praise to the highest. I do it to be vertically aligned with not to
How is
change anything. Yeah.
how is your work with the workbook? Is it a uh, pick it up and do it and put it aside? Everyone seems to have a different approach. Some people it's a constant practice. Some might take a couple years off and then dive back in. Of course, it's always present. We're always practicing. We're always doing the work.
Right.
But do you do like a renewal, a deep dive, or is it something that you turn to the workbook every day?
Well, it's interesting. What I have noticed is what seemed to look like DeOna practicing the course. Now in the steps they practice through me. They work through me. It's like a lifestyle. I don't have to think about it. Now beyond that, sometimes I'll use like the course book. It's right beside my bed right now, and my big book is on the other side of my bed. But I'll use it as an oracle. If there's something that feels real intense, I'll just sit and pray and open it up, and it's always on point.
You're the second guest who has said that, and I'm sure if it had come up many others, the first one to say that was David Hoffmeister. Does the exact same thing.
Yep.
You're in good company.
Thank you.
Um, so outside of addiction, how does the course play in your life? And how's your relationship with your sister uh, since the relapse and then diving back in, and not so much your sister's relationship with you, but how is your relationship with your sister?
Now when I said sister, I meant it not in the literal
Okay,
sense, like
sure.
you're right. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever, let me restate that. She laid the body down.
Oh,
Apparently, time was complete, and she laid the body down. She was 91, I believe.
well,
But it ended on because we communicated. So yeah, yeah, it ended good. There was no. In fact, she offered to let me stay at there was another condominium she owned. And she said, "DeOna, you're welcome to stay here for a couple of weeks if you want," after she returned. So it was good.
nice. It really miracles, forgiveness. It's the same thing. Uh, just practicing that, and I love your um as you I've seen you mention on Facebook, true forgiveness. You make a distinction. Which step is it where forgiveness comes into play?
In the 12 steps,
Uh-huh.
well, step 9 is where you make amends for what the character did. You're responsible to make the amends for what the character did, but you're not accountable. There's a big difference. And I love the analogy of when you walk your dog, this is how you keep from, you know, bumping up against more guilt, right? When you're walking your dog and your dog takes a poop in someone's yard, you're responsible to pick up the poop, but you didn't actually poop in the yard. Like you're not accountable, but you are responsible.
Right. What a great analogy. I never thought of it that way. Perfect.
Well, my one of my dear friends, Paul Hederman, he mentioned it a couple of times. I thought, oh my God, I love that. Yeah.
Paul Hederman of the Great Zen Bitch Slap, by the way.
Yes. Yes.
I'd like to
Yep.
ask. I'd like to ask him to come up sometime. That would be pretty awesome.
Oh my gosh, that would be. In fact, he just the synchronicity of it. He's on live right now on
Is he?
Yes, he is. Yep.
Um, yeah, I've been a fan of Paul for quite some time. I've read a few of his books. A
Yeah.
great perspective. Not always traditional AA isn't always, or the 12 steps, popular in the non-duality community. Sometimes, depending on the perspective each has. I know Wayne Luckerman wrote a wonderful book on, I think it's called The Way of Powerlessness, uh, Surrendering as a Road to Recovery.
Wow, I've never heard of that. It's called The Way of Powerlessness.
I believe so. If you look up Wayne Luckerman,
Okay.
uh, you will see it.
Well, I think it's how it's how it's presented, wouldn't you say, Eric? Like they're parallel. The two practices are parallel, and I think David, what is his name? Oh my gosh, David. I can't think of his last name. He has some scale and
Oh,
puts on this scale like percentages. Like A Course in Miracles is 600% of being a true teaching of
right.
love or something.
Uh,
You know what I'm talking about?
David Hawkins and his skill of consciousness.
Yes, that's it. That's it. And A Course in Miracles and AA 12 Steps are, I think, side by side in terms of their percentage.
He actually has the workbook a little bit higher than the text,
Oh,
um,
wow. Okay.
because he believed that the text overemphasized uh, the ego and diminishing the ego, while the course focuses more on forgiveness and love.
That's interesting because I've
With the
always,
workbook.
it's focused on, it explains the ego so much so it doesn't leave any stone unturned so it can't trick you because you're aware of every angle because it covered every angle. That's the way I've heard it presented, and I love that.
Um, is there so when you were making your amends, uh, was it through the practice of true forgiveness, or did you stick with maybe the more traditional? Um, and in Song of Prayer, they
Yeah,
talk about forgiveness to destroy.
right. Making it real and then
Right.
forgive what you believe to be real. Right.
Do you think a lot of practitioners of the 12 steps would benefit from true forgiveness presented through a course?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I Paul talks about this a lot that, he said I've seen people with 40 years still carrying around guilt from something they had on their four-step they made amends for, but they still are tied to this belief that they are that person and they did that and they can't let it go. It's almost like it needs to be taken a step further. It stops short presenting true forgiveness. Yeah, definitely.
Um, Julie Burst. I know I'm mispronouncing her last name.
Oh, Julie.
Uh,
Oh, I
yeah,
love her.
you know Julie.
Hi,
Beautiful channel.
Julie.
She says, DeOna, so happy to see you here. You know what? I'm really happy to see you here too. I'm going to take another opportunity to say thank you so much. Uh,
Thank you so much, Eric. And thank you everyone for being here with me, with us. Yeah.
the I could just see how much easier it would be to take that step, the ninth step, uh, knowing that forgiveness isn't a battle, that it's not something that you, if they don't accept my amends, um, then I'm stuck on the ninth step, that I'm going to feel this guilt forever. That, I tried to make amends, I asked for forgiveness, or I tried to forgive, and they said no. Uh, so you're stuck. But true forgiveness, it comes back. You're not asking others.
Right. Right. You do your part, take the steps, make the amends. The outcome is not it's not up to me because I have zero control over what how they're going to receive it or not receive it, but the bottom line is the truth remains. It doesn't matter what it looks like in appearance. The truth is the truth is the truth and nothing else is true.
True, true. Grandma Free says you have a beautiful personality.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
Um,
so much.
get a wonderful group of people who show up, um, and a lot of times, as I mentioned, we do talk an awful lot about recovery, and they tend to show up uh, with that caring and tenderness when the guest is someone who is um, going through recovery. The
Mm,
two things I do want to touch on. The One of the reasons why I couldn't commit to going to AA meetings myself was I found that uh, everyone was so addicted that maybe they had left alcohol behind. In a way, they were still carrying it in their mind, and it was a battle, a constant battle, and they were always one step away. And they would tell you, you're only one step away from relapsing. Of course, you're always, as I mentioned, earlier, when you're sober, you're sober. You're not one step away from relapsing. You're sober. Uh, do meetings play a part in your life? Have you found anything similar?
well, I'll say two things about that. The first thing, uh, the way that I approach this, because I do enjoy the meetings, I do enjoy the fellowship. Um, However, I see what you're saying, and that's my experience too. But this is what I how I move through that. I recognize that the central theme of the course is there is no world. So everything out here is a projection. What am I going to choose? Am I going to choose to look at the script, the ego script, AA meetings? Am I what people seem to be saying? Am I going to look at it with the forgiven script, or am I going to perpetuate the illusion, which just multiplies, and then I see more of it, and then I seem to hear more of it. But the truth is, I can only hear the Holy Spirit from my brothers and sisters when I make that conscious, active choice. I only want to hear the Holy Spirit from my brothers and sisters. And that is the cleaning of the mind. That's the mind training. I'm only responsible for my state. And I say all this, language is dualistic, right? But I'm only responsible for my mind and training my mind. And as
Right.
I train my mind, the guilt is lifted and I'm seeing different. I can't see what I once saw. It's impossible. And I'm seeing evidence of that, if you will, by not there's a lot less reacting with this character and a
I
lot less and I'm a lot more knowing I'm the screen.
right. I often mention Mother Teresa in the interview when she was asked, "How do you show up every day, um, the hospital and the orphanage that you work in, and you tend to the sickest of the sick children, and then you go out in the streets and you tend to the poorest of the poor, um, and you never flinch. And her answer, and they said, how do you do it? And she said, I simply see the face of Jesus, the face of Christ, in all of his many distressing disguises, which is also how we forgive. That, yes, you've done this and this and this. You've had effect and effect and effect. But when I look past the effects, I see the face of Christ. Uh, would I refuse the face of Jesus if Jesus showed up at my door? Would I refuse the gift that he's offering me? My own reflection, my own recognition of who I am? This is what everyone in our life, no matter in what form they show up, troublesome or lovable, they're offering the same gift. Can I see myself? Can I see the face of Christ?
Whatever the wave looks like. Is it a high wave, low wave, just a, whatever? It's still the ocean. Yeah, and it's this the awareness, which is God, the consciousness awareness. It's just like this subtle sense of being that I am, and you can sense it and feel it. Right? Yeah.
Have you had this experience? This is what our friend Soul Stars Production, Sissy, said. She stopped 12-step meetings when I was told in so many ways that I had to become a Christian for the system to work. It seemed still support illusions I was aiming to avoid moving forward.
Oh wow. Well, and I'm glad she mentioned this because I was actually going to mention it. You had asked me something a while ago, but it's the big book talks about choosing your own conception of God. And I often say God is good orderly direction, right mindedness. Um but it's about choosing your own conception. And as I have had as awakenings have happened, it looks like this character's conception of God has evolved. Absolutely. Um, and that's what works for me. I know DeOna the person. There's some sort of, just like it looks like DeOna the person has green eyes and she's white. We know none of this is true, but I'm saying, so it looks like DeOna the person can't put alcohol in the body without having a physiological reaction that prevents her from drinking just one. So I know DeOna the person cannot lift the obsession to drink. So I step out of the little minded self and I fall into true self consciousness, awareness. And I absolutely, DeOna's powerless. Absolutely, DeOna has unmanageability, irritable, restless, discontent. But consciousness awareness is the higher power.
So we could say that's asking for the miracle.
Absolutely.
Show me who I show me who I truly am.
Yep. Yep.
Um, our friend Lee says, question for DeOna. Why do you think attitudes towards addiction are so varied? And if you understand it, can you have a better relationship with that person?
Why do I think attitudes toward addiction are so varied? If I understand, do you mean understand their attitude? I can have a better relationship. He said relationship, right?
Right. Let's take it two ways. If you could understand their attitude towards addiction, and if you could understand their addiction better.
Well, I when I see the mind going outward, I bring it back and I look at what's going on in my mind because it's if whatever I think I'm seeing in someone else, it's really happening within myself. I get the mind straight here, and whatever needs to be said to understand someone, whatever needs to be done, right action will just flow through the communication device because I'm lined up with the higher power.
We keep returning to this.
Does that make sense?
It does. We keep returning to this, and maybe I was about to say inadvertently, but probably not. Um, that as soon as we go back to the cause of everything, the effects begin to take care of themselves.
Absolutely. It's
Uh,
true. I can give an example of that real quick. I don't know how many are familiar with Muji,
mhm.
but he was telling a parable one time of him and some students were in a restaurant. It was a very busy restaurant. They sit down at the table, and the table next to them, they were being very loud, kind of, they were just being loud. And one of the students goes to get up to go over and ask them if they would be quiet. Muji looked at the student and he kind of shook his head and said, wait, just wait, just be. And so the student sat back down, connected with, oh, wait a minute, I am that. I'm not this person that needs to get up and go fix that situation. I can be here. And when that was done, it went away. It it took care of itself. It took care of itself. Yeah. And I'm not
That's
saying
all
it happens like that. Maybe it
right.
would be needed to get up and say something, but that's just an example. Yeah.
It always pays to pause and consider the cause before the effects. Of course, we get caught up in the effect. It's only natural that in a busy world, that's in Taoism they say the 10,000 things. We get caught up in the 10,000 things, but we don't have to stay there.
No.
And each one of those 10,000 things can be a return point. I can take this and I can return back to that piece that you were just mentioning,
That's
back to
the
that.
Eric, that's what we're talking about. It's almost like we're putting the spotlight right now on the addiction. Going back to the mind, going back to the mind. I need to do this. What about things I need to no, just come back, come back, come back. Because when you are lined up with capital S self, right action, it just flows through you. Yeah, the effects do fall in a way.
Um, do you get the opportunity to talk to people who are struggling with addiction and offer them that same principle that you've been talking about? That there's just one addiction.
Right. That's what I do in my shares when I share in meetings. I share the truth.
How do people respond?
I've had people come up to me and thank me. I've not had anyone come up and say anything negative. That doesn't mean that maybe they didn't have those thoughts and they just didn't share them. I don't know. I feel it's an it's like an integrity, right? On my part, being true to self. I'm among the ministers of God. Like I want this communication device to be used to share truth. And so I do. Talk about the egomaniac. I pull things from the big book and highlight it using the practice of A Course in Miracles.
Beautiful. Um, our friend Long John want to know: are you anyone sponsor in NA or AA?
I'm not yet, and I feel like I've only been in this location where I'm at about 9 months. So I'm relatively new, but I truly believe that when the time, it'll be divine timing. I'm open to it. And everyone, they know that. I would love to work with someone and take them through the 12-step work.
Um,
It gives me an opportunity to also bring in the course more intimately.
sure. I think what might be helpful to our friend Lee and the question that he had answered that we were slightly unsure of. How would you, if you were talking to a family member with an addiction, or you were talking to someone that you sponsored, um, how would maybe even more so with a family member? Because sometimes people are presented with what Lee was saying, that zero tolerance, that you have no room to mess up. Otherwise, you're out of here. Otherwise, I'm cutting you off. Otherwise, you're out of the family or out of my life or whatever. Um,
Right, right.
so, how did you ever have that kind of pressure on you?
Absolutely, I did. Yeah, absolutely. Um, it seems like I'd been told, maybe a couple of times, my mom telling me, don't come over to the house drunk again, ever. Don't do it. And I remember that kind of was a moment, just a mustard seed size moment of clarity, but there wasn't willingness and readiness present. uh I do believe strongly that, the script is written. Whatever, it's just, we're just really in the audience watching. And so I believe that whatever comes out of my mouth when someone talks to me about addiction is what needs to be said, whether it's helping them find a treatment center, whether it's saying, sharing with them a parable from my experience. um yeah, there's many things I can draw on. But yeah, I do remember my mother telling me that a couple of times. And I've had to do that with someone. I let them in my home and they were still actively getting drunk, throwing up on the floor. I talked to them a couple of times, but it was obvious that where they were at, help wasn't, they weren't able to receive the help. They needed something more intense, like in the hospital. And so I told them, look, you are going to have to leave and you need to go to the hospital. And they did. They went to the hospital.
Right. I guess sometimes a hard line needs to be drawn.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
and sometimes life itself presents us that hard line.
That's what happened to me in 2016. I didn't listen.
I was just going to ask you, um, the first time you became sober, and then when you recovered after the relapse, did you have that great, Bill W. said, I believe that the way to sobriety is through an epiphany. Uh, and the epiphany is, you awaken to a higher source, you awaken to a higher power. Did you have that type of epiphany experience? Was it something grand or something soft?
You know, it almost, my experience almost, this is what is coming to mind, reminds me of Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade, I think, where he's trying to find, I think he's going through all these obstacles and scenarios, I think, to find the golden cup
Mhm.
or chalice, something. And because it looked like everything in my life was taken away. Uh, my husband, my house, my car, my job. We're standing in the middle of a park trying to find a treatment center for me and my little dog. That's what the picture, the screen looked like for me. That's what the movie was giving me. And consequently, because I didn't have anything, I had to solely rely on spirit. I mean 100%. I had no money, my little dog, no car. I had no one. And I'm standing in the middle of a park. My husband had his phone. We made some calls and I went to treatment in California. And it was one spiritual experience after another, synchronicity, another. But it did seem very painful. To the character, it seemed very painful.
Mm.
Yeah. But it was in retrospect, that's what it took for this character to stop drinking. And I also, drugs were involved. Yeah, that that was the movie. But I had powerful synchronistic experiences. I stayed in a outdoor homeless shelter for treat people going into treatment, and I had spiritual experiences there. The right people were showing up at the right time, saying, "Go through this door, now go through that door." And I just kept taking the steps. As each door opened, I took the next step and the next step. And I was just wowed. I met so many different people. Um, and I ended up with 8 years from one powerful experience, staying in this person's house, then this person's house. A lady gives me a car. A lady I'd met at a meeting. She called me one day. I was in supportive living. Said, "DeOna, I'm going to take you to the dealership and buy you a car." And I said, "What? Are you serious?" She said, "Yeah, come on, let's go." She paid $5,000 for me a car right then and there, and I
Uh,
drove off the lot.
gotta
Those
love those
powerful wow experiences.
those synchronistic events. And as the course says, we walk with mighty companions. Uh,
Yeah,
some we see, some we don't. Um,
that's right.
but
That's right.
it's amazing. I'm often asked, was sobriety, was quitting drinking difficult, hard for me? And my answer is always absolutely not, because I never tried to get sober. Um, I was a self-declared
That,
drunk for a decade, over a decade, and as a drunk, you don't try to get sober. That would be self-defeating. Uh, and my pursuit was to erase myself through alcoholism. But inadvertently, little things were drawing me in. Practicing meditation, deepening my yoga practice that was always a part of my life for such a long time, A Course in Miracles. And one day, through a great synchronistic event, not far from my house, I was pulled over by an off duty state trooper who I only swerved a little bit, almost let me go. Um, but as a upholder of the law, he thought, well, I can't take a chance. And even though I'm off duty, even though I have carry out food in my hand to take home to my family, he pulled me over. And I saw that light, and I knew, um, I had a choice to make, that I could continue down this path and it would be probably short and probably have a tragic end for me and probably other people. Or I could step in a life of sobriety. Uh, and I don't know why, but when the officer said, motioned me to pull down the window and said, "Sir, have you been drinking?" And I said, "Yes, but I'm never going to drink again." Um, and I talked to him later that night. He ended up giving me a ride back home. And he said, "I believed you when you said never again. Don't let me down." And
and you didn't.
26 years. And it was, again, it was the easiest. I was given sobriety as grace, unasked for. Um, and I don't want to squander it. And I you being here, you're one of my mighty companions, and you are the proof that I am not squandering that grace that was given, by joining your grace with mine and offering it to anyone that it might be helpful to.
Oh,
So
right. Right.
thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh,
Um,
wow.
our friend Lee had another question. Um, may I ask, DeOna, when drinking, did she neglect her appearance and self care, and did that play on her mind from time to time? If that's too personal, please ignore it.
No, that's not too personal at all. And yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yep. The parable of Deanna looked like, during active alcoholism and addiction, not taking showers for days at a time, staying up for days at a time, didn't care what food went in the body, if food went. Yeah, it was a there was a lot of suffering involved. But today, I know the truth. And because I know the truth, I'm free to realize that the person I thought I was who was going through that and the person I might think I am now going through this is not real. Only love is. But I do feel it's helpful to dip into the parables and share this experience, strength, and hope. I do feel that with
Can
the understanding in the back of the mind. Ken Wapnick would talk about this. Do what you're doing. It's like that second bird position that Muji talks about. But Ken would say, do what you're doing, but know in the back of your mind, this is not reality. This is dream. This is dream. But I am with you, and I will hold your hand with you side by side and do whatever I can to help others.
We're not alone, are we?
No, no.
And if we knew that, and Jesus says in the course, if you only knew, and you quoted that just a little bit ago, um, just knowing, you can ask. Maybe the greatest prayer, just help me.
prayer is the medium of miracles. That's been coming to me a lot. Yeah.
Could we touch one more time on? I know this is a big, uh, a big thing for you. True forgiveness. What's the role true forgiveness plays in your life, in sobriety, in everything? What is true forgiveness?
It is everything. It is literally my job. You know, I heard David Hoffmeister say one time, forgiveness is a lifestyle choice. Forgiveness, I find the more that I have the repetition, repetition is in time, in dream, it's key. And until there's just this, oh wow, this full on, okay, I'm not that. And it just seems like it speeds up. The time collapse happens quicker and quicker and quicker, where you're able to come back. Oh, wait, I'm not that character doing that thing. I'm not owning that. And coming back to self love, and it just takes care of itself. So it's a stark recognition that what I'm not, brothers and sisters aren't. They're not mind bodies walking around and doing these things. So if someone, quote, hurts me, I recognize that's not what they are. They're not a body doing something to me. That is false. It's not. A wave never stays a wave. It's always just the ocean.
And that sets us free in return.
Absolutely. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. One mind, absolutely.
Amazing. If I open the whole thing, the whole chat up for some questions, you want to take maybe oh, 10, 15 minutes, some questions, and then we'll wrap it up.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Yeah.
Before we do that, the conversation I've had with you, of all the guests I've had on, this is as close as I've been on the verge of tears more than any other. And just pure emotion and like and love and knowing that I've gone through similar things with you, pure empathy and compassion and feeling the same from conversation has broken me open in a wonderful way. So just thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Um, so guys, do you have any questions we'll close up with? Our good friend, Miss Blipper, who is a longtime practitioner of the Course in Miracles, her and I do a Monday Miracles Monday with Miss Blipper every Monday. She took the time to go through the course. She realized that it's full of imperatives, these declarative statements. This is an imperative. Know it. And she typed them all out and put them in little clips and filled a
Yeah.
fishbowl with them. And she'll dip her hand into a fishbowl of imperatives. Early on in our conversation, she asked if DeOna would like her to pick out a imperative from the fishbowl for you.
Yes, I would love that.
So, Miss Flipper, if you could pick out an imperative, and as I said, any questions, guys? We'll open things up for some questions. Usually, as I mentioned, I save all the questions towards the end, but
Yeah.
everyone wanted to reach out to you so quickly. I think everyone just instantly felt comfortable at home and as if you had something to tell just them, which is an amazing gift. If that everyone could feel like you were speaking to them, no one else,
Thank
just
you.
them. Soul Stars
I'm
had said a couple times, and
okay. Okay, Eric. Thank you, honey.
Sissy had mentioned several times how much earlier she said a banger of a session, a banger of a session. Uh,
I've never heard that. I love it though. Can I use it too?
you can. I'm going to speak for Sissy, and she's going to say yes. You can use it.
Okay, love it.
So we're going to wait for that uh, imperative to come up. But yeah, as I had mentioned, so we've already gotten quite a few questions beforehand, so there might not be as many as when we close up. But here is your imperative. Uh, DeOna, first, infinite thanks. First, infinite thanks for your visit and sharing blessings. So she wanted to say that before she dipped in.
Thank you.
So I go through. I really ask people to speak to me. Who should I ask to as a guest? And just seeing your Facebook profile, I got an instant yes. Uh, you were the one. You were the one to talk to, and boy, was Spirit right about this one, as always. Um,
That's right. That's right.
and I'm always amazed with the specifically from course students, the enthusiastic yes that I get when I ask them to come up from the David Hoffmeisters. Uh, he came up on a Monday when normally I have my Miss Flipper hanging out with her, and she had a guest that she hadn't seen for a while. And she said, "I won't be able to make it Monday." Um, and I had just happened to reach out to David. I think it was the day before, maybe
Yeah.
2 days before, about coming up. I didn't set any time, but the same thing that I sent you about the time frames. And Miss Flipper said she couldn't make it at Monday at 1 o'clock. And I got a message from David saying, "Hey, how about Monday at 1 o'clock? I can come up."
Oh,
Amazing.
I the synchronicity just blows my mind. I love it. I just love it, Eric. Yeah.
Lee says, DeOna, I think so often people generally disregard addicts, but some of my most enlightening conversations have come from chatting, etc. So often we assume that they have no insight or anything to offer.
Is it okay? Does she want me to comment on that?
Um,
I certainly
yeah,
can.
if you would like to comment on that, have you ever felt dismissed?
It's very synchronistic that you're asking me this because just a couple hours ago I was talking to a friend, someone in the program, just about this topic. Um, and of course, the ego speaks first and speaks loudest. And when there's this feeling that I'm not liked or received because of addiction and alcoholism. Yeah, it's the first reaction is like, "Oh God, that hurts. That's painful. They don't know who I am. They don't know my heart. They don't know how smart I am. Blah 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 blah." And then I pause and remember the truth that it does. First of all, it's none of my business what they think, and second of all, they are just projecting a part of my mind that needs healed. Still believes in judgments against people with addiction.
Great answer. Long John says this might be somewhat personal, if you don't mind answering. Did you receive blood work concerning liver damage, and do you exercise? And if so, how much does that help?
I did not have any liver damage. I do suspect that this body is pre-diabetic, and I think maybe drinking for so many years might have, of course, it's false cause effect, but on a practical level, we take care of the body. We don't ignore that. So I monitor sugar intake, but as far as the liver, there was no real damage to the liver.
Good.
Yeah.
Here's your imperative, by the way. Uh, Teach like him here, and you will remember that you have always created like your father.
Oh, as you teach, you will know yourself. Like I teach what I would learn. We're here to teach truth over and over again, It becomes I. No, oh, wait a minute, I am him. And it's creation. Love creates. It just extends. Creation is love, is extension. Um, it just is. I remember reading some things about creation, and it seemed like it was pretty much just that simple. That creation is love, spirit, extension. We teach what we would learn, and I'm seemingly here to teach truth over and over and over and over again as I begin to completely accept for what looks like my mind,
Nice.
so that I'm not the unhealed healer.
Right. Kat and Jack, who is another Course in Miracles practitioner. Um, Question: the Course says the Holy Spirit will undo all the consequences of my wrong decision if I will let Him. What does letting Him look like in real life?
This is so crazy. I love this so much. I literally have that part of the course written on my board over here. Can I read it real quick?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So it says, okay, this is page 90 in the text. I must have decided wrongly because I am not at peace. I made the decision myself, but I can also decide otherwise. I want to decide otherwise because I want to be at peace. I do not feel guilty because the Holy Spirit will undo all the consequences of my wrong decision if I will let Him. I choose to let Him by allowing Him to decide for God for me. I love that. That is looking at the ego script forgiven. It is just now. It is just now. There is no past, present, future. We're looking at what seems to be events happening on a screen. We're the screen. Nothing ever happens to the screen, regardless of what's appearing on the movie. Even if DeOna reacts right away and gets upset, the quicker that I recognize that's not what I am, the quicker that there will be no guilt, no fear, like that won't get stored up. I will see what I am. Yeah, and there won't be guilt and fear.
So that has played out for you, real life consequence, real life, uh, in action.
Yes, I don't do it to change anything in the script. I do it because I'm one with my creator. I need nothing. But it looks like um the external shape shifts kind of to kind of bend to the forgiven script, bend the decision for truth. It looks like kind of there's a shape shifting, and I'll only hear the message of the spirit from others. Like I don't hear other things
Right. And our central theme,
because we're a mind. There's no body.
right?
That's the ultimate.
The central theme that we keep, like I said, inadvertently but purposely so, returning back to um, the the only wrong decision that we ever make, ever, bar none, is the decision to uh, listen to ego. Is the decision to relate, to identify as
Yep.
ego instead of relating to Holy Spirit, instead of relating to who we truly are. We keep turning back
That's
to
it.
just one thing. We only have to do one thing ever.
That's right. Nope. Not DeOna. Not that. Come back. Not that. The ego say, "Oh, this is boring. Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh," and the mind gets distracted. Blah blah blah. Don't feel guilty. There's no guilt in that because guess what? It's not you. Just come back to you and recognize that's what your brothers and sisters are. That same presence. That
Uh,
same presence.
Lee wants to know if you have a channel.
You know what? I do, and I have felt the nudge and the prompt to kind of DeOna get on there and let's love on the YouTube channel. So this showing up is is that strong nudge. But uh how would I tell them to find it? I do have a YouTube channel and I have a few videos put up that I've done. I guess you could just put in my name, right? You could put my
I think so. What I'll do is I will look you up and I'll share it
okay.
on my
Might be
community page.
okay.
And you already have built-in support, so we will go all out for you when you're ready. When you want to uh, hit the YouTube streets and reach out to more people, uh,
Okay.
everyone here will. I'm positive will subscribe to you.
Oh
Uh,
my. Okay. It's just Deanna's fear of love. And oh, I got, yeah, the commentary, whatever. Yes, I say yes.
um, I'm not gonna lie. It's not always easy on YouTube. I've hit some stumbling blocks. Uh, I the the message of forgiveness is not always an easy one to digest for so many people. The lesson that I hold dear of one of Kenneth Wapnick's favorite lines of "cast no one out" um, is not always um, met with a whole lot of understanding. Uh, but the benefits are the people that you can reach, and it only means one. We only need to reach one person.
It's like sponsoring, and really, you're doing it for you. And it's one mind, so you're not really doing it for you. You're doing it for the one mind. You're just signing up for your seat assignment.
Um, Sniper
You.
says, if all addiction is an expression of the ego's addiction to fear, how do I use my relationship with alcohol to uncover and forgive the specific fear my ego is trying to obscure?
Well, when I think about addiction to alcohol and drugs, I think about, I don't know if you all have ever seen those Russian dolls where you've got one doll within a doll within a doll, like a dream within a dream within a dream. Um, you tackle that first. You show up and walk through the doors that open up to you to heal yourself, to recover from the alcohol, and what you need is going to show up to heal and do the mind training, practicing recover or forgive, practicing forgiveness. That's what he was saying, right?
I believe
Did
so.
I get it right? Okay.
Um, Julie, our friend Julie says she's happy to pass on any messages to DeOna from her channel. Let me take the opportunity to mention that Julie has a beautiful channel. There's a beautiful YouTube channel with
Okay.
such awesome messages. I hope everyone here takes the opportunity to subscribe to Julie. And I would love, Julie has come up, but it was well before I was like having guests for a sit down. And it was just a spontaneous where she showed up in the chat. And I loved stuff. And I said, Julie, please come up. Um, but I would love to sit down and have an extended conversation with her if she would ever like to. Um, I love talking Course in Miracles, and uh,
Yep.
I
I
love
love
talk,
you, Julie.
I love talking about it, and I love talking with those who are just. I love talking to you. Uh, just a wonderful,
Thank
wonderful
you.
time.
Yeah. I mean, I can't stop smiling. Yeah, it's just so, it feels so good.
Let's
I mean, I
see.
keep hearing, know the truth shall set you free. And freedom feels good.
It does. You know, I think people when we talk enthusiastically about the course, sometimes I'm always afraid that people are going to get the impression that life is such smooth sailing for all of us. It isn't. It's bump
Oh,
after bump. It's the same bump. It's the before before in Course of Miracles, chop wood, carry water. After A Course of Miracles, chop wood, carry water. Um, but We're on mute.
Can you hear me okay, honey?
Yep, now we can.
I got, just to let everyone know a little background info. I thought I was going to be using the laptop, and I found out that I needed to use my cell phone, and I have someone is picking me up actually at 2:30, and this has been so incredible. I didn't realize that it's 2:30, right? Or
We're about 2:20 right now, I believe.
they just called, and I hate to do this to even say this on the Zoom call, but I actually need to call him back. What I'm
Okay.
not sure what.
Absolutely fine. Well, as I mentioned when you first came up, we usually run about an hour-ish, sometimes an hour and a half or so. Um, Time flew by, and I had an amazing conversation. And as I said, Sissy said a sacred yes. Everyone has just, uh, you've been a blessing. Uh, my favorite,
Every
my favorite way of saying it is just a simple thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh my gosh, Eric,
Uh,
thank you. And thank you everyone so much. I mean, I just feel like I've been I've been propelled into outer space. I just feels it feels wonderful. It feels
um,
joyful.
So it's 2:22. So a nice synchronistic number to say goodbye to. So
Okay.
you can go ahead and hit the goodbye button, and I'm going to close up with everyone. Uh,
Okay,
Normally I
Eric.
close off together, but I want to bask for a moment
Okay.
with my friends.
Thank you so much. Bye guys. I love y'all.
An absolutely amazing conversation, guys. Kat says thank you. Still misty eyed. Cypher says thank you so much. Amazing live, lovely guest. Man, when I get to have these great guests, and particularly DeOna, I feel on point. What I'm supposed to be doing. Just having these wonderful conversations. I always tell people, I don't want to interview. I don't want to interview people. Just I want to, as if you and I are sitting down for a cup of coffee, and I want to know everything that you would like to share. And I get to sit down with a friend that I'm just meeting, and all the friends here in this chat that I love so much. Uh, I could not ask for anything better to do. Thank you, Julie. Julie, thank you so much for being here. Guys, I want to mention again, please reach out and connect with Julie. Um, if you want to see the course presented in a truly beautiful fashion, uh, Julie is the place to go. Um, so, Julie, please reach out. You can reach out to me on Facebook if you like, um, and we could set something up. If you're interested, there's never any pressure. Um, as I tell everyone that there's no expectations. Kat says, great guest. Yeah, got lucky. I got lucky. We all did. Uh, Chris says, great live. Thank you so much. Thank you, my singing partner. Julie says, I will reach out. Thank you, Julie. So, guys, we're going to wrap things up. Speaking of, we were talking during this live stream about meditation. Very often, my second meditation comes before the live stream. I actually put it off, and I'm glad I did, because now when I sit and meditate, I'm just going to carry this energy. So, thanks, guys. We got a banger alert from Sissy. Miss Pepper says, just sub Julie. Nameless. Sorry I couldn't get the opportunity to say hi to you and talk more during the live stream. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Simple says, you don't find luck. You become its conduit by shaping your inner state and outer environment. Perfectly said. I got the omni love to all of you and to you. guys, I got nothing else to say. I find myself in a unique position of being on camera and nothing to say other than I love you. I'll see you all later tonight, 5:25. Bye, guys.